Kulin was the Ban of Bosnia from 1180 to 1204, first as a vassal of the Byzantine Empire and then of the Kingdom of Hungary. He was one of Bosnia's most prominent and notable historic rulers and had a great effect on the development of early Bosnian history. One of his most noteworthy diplomatic achievements is widely considered to have been the signing of the Charter of Ban Kulin, which encouraged trade and established peaceful relations between Dubrovnik and the Kingdom of Bosnia. His son, Stjepan Kulinić, succeeded him as Bosnian Ban. Kulin founded the House of Kulinić. Early life. Kulin's origin is unknown. His sister was married to Miroslav of Hum, the brother of Serbian Grand Prince Stjepan Nemanja. Byzantine Emperor Manuel I Komnenos was at the time the overlord of Bosnia. In 1180, when Komnenos died, Stjepan Nemanja and Kulin asserted independence of Serbia and Bosnia, respectively. His rule is often remembered as being emblematic of Bosnia's golden age, and he is a common hero of Bosnian national folk tales. Under him, the Bosnian age of peace and prosperity would come to exist. Bosnia was completely autonomous and mostly at peace during his rule. War against Byzantium. In 1183, he led his troops with the forces of the Kingdom of Hungary under King Byakutele and the Serbs under Stjepan Nemanja, who had just launched an attack on the Byzantine Empire. The cause of the war was Hungary's non-recognition of the new emperor, Andronikos Komnenos. The united forces met little resistance in the eastern Serbian lands. The Byzantine squadrons were fighting among themselves as the local Byzantine commanders Alexios Bran supported the new emperor, while Andronikos Lapids opposed him and deserted the imperial army, going on to adventures on his own. Without difficulties, the Byzantines were pushed out of the Mirava Valley and the Allied forces breached all the way to Sofia, raiding Belgrade, Branicevo, Ravno, Nis and Sofia itself. Bogomils in 1199, Serbian Prince Vukan Nemanja informed the Pope Innocent of heresy in Bosnia. The Vukan claimed that Kulin, a heretic, had welcomed the heretics whom Bernard of Split had banished, and treated them as Christians. In 1200, the Pope wrote a letter to Kulin's suzerain, the Hungarian King Emeric, warning him that no small number of Patarines had gone from Split and Trogir to Ban Kulin, where they were warmly welcomed, and told him to go and ascertain the truth of these reports, and if Kulin is unwilling to recant, drive him from your lands and confiscate his property. Quote, Kulin replied to the Pope that he did not regard the immigrants as heretics, but as Catholics, and that he was sending a few of them to Rome for examination, and also invited that a papal representative be sent to investigate. Unconvinced, the Pope sent his legates to Bosnia to interrogate Kulin and his subjects about religion and life, and if indeed heretical, correct the situation through prepared constitution. The Pope wrote to Bernard in 1202 that a multitude of people in Bosnia is suspected of the damnable heresy of the Cathars. The two legates sent by the Pope went through the country of Bosnia and interrogated the clergy. Not only did Casimiras listen to his informant's answers, but where they were in error, he would have taught them correct doctrine. In line with Innocent's directive, John must have convinced himself that he had fulfilled Innocent's command to correct the Christiani, because the Confessio, signed at Bilinopolis by 7 priors of the Christiani Church on the 8th of April 1203, makes no mention of errors. The same document was brought to Budapest the 30th of April by Casimiras and Kulin and 2 abbots, where it was examined by the Hungarian Hungarian king and the high clergy. Kulin's son Stjepan, during a later meeting, agreed that if the Bosnians violated the agreement, they would pay a heavy fine of 1,000 marks. On the surface, the confessio concerned church organization and practices. The monks renounced the schism with Rome and agreed to accept Rome as the mother church. They promised to erect chapels with altars and crucifixes, where they would have priests who would say Mass and dispense Holy Communion at least 7 times a year on the main feast days. The priests would also hear confession and give penances. The monks promised to chant the hours, night and day, and to read the Old Testament as well as the New. They would follow the Church's schedule of fasts, as well as their own regimen. They also agreed to stop calling themselves Cristiani, which had been their exclusive privilege, lest they cause pain to other Christians. They would wear special uncolored robes, closed and reaching the ankles. In addition, they were to have graveyards next to the church, where they would bury the brethren and any visitors who happened to die there. Women members of the order were to have special quarters away from the men and to eat separately, nor could they be seen talking alone with a monk, lest they cause scandal. The abbots also agreed not to offer lodging to Manichaeans or other heretics. Finally, upon the death of the head of their order, the abbots, after consultation with the fellow monks, would submit their choice to the Pope for his approval. As for the Bosnian Catholic diocese itself, John advised Innocent that they needed to break the hold of the Slavonic bishop who had ruled the Bosnian Church up to then, and to appoint 3 or 4 Latin bishops, since Bosnia was a large country. After the confessio was approved by King Emmerich, John de Casamaris, in a letter to Innocent, refers to the former Patarines. Quote, "Obviously, he thought that he had converted the Cristiani, but he was wrong, partly due to Rome's complacency and the Pope's failure to appoint Latin bishops, as John had suggested. The heretical movement grew stronger over the next few decades, uniting with remnants of the old native Catholic Church. Together they formed a national heretical church which survived crusades and threats of crusades until the mid-15th century, when it gradually vanished in the face of the Ottoman takeover." Charter of Ban Kulin. The Charter of Ban Kulin was a trade agreement between Bosnia and the Republic of Ragusa that effectively regulated Ragusan trade rights in Bosnia, written on the 29th of August 1189. It is one of the oldest written state documents in the Balkans and is among the oldest historical documents written in Bosnian Cyrillic. The Charter is of great significance in Bosnian national pride and historical heritage. After the death of Ban Kulin in 1204, the Bosnian throne was succeeded by his son Stjepan Kulinić. Marriage and children. Kulin married Vojislava, with whom he had 2 sons, Stjepan Kulinić, the following Ban of Bosnia, a son that went with the Pope's emissaries in 1203 to explain heresy accusations against Kulin.